Cool. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, I see that you have a new book. So happens I have the exact same book.
Oh,
That's nice. I guess that's nice. Who bought it for you? Anybody suggested?
my mom bought it.
I see, I see. So at least we can talk about the same thing, lah, which is good, I guess. I guess. I mean, let's try to use this, but actually, have you tried using it before?
Yeah.
Like, um, tell me how you use this book.
I read through it. Yeah. The uh I think the asset chapter. Yeah.
The asset chapter. Again, just to confirm which one you mean.
Uh
You can look at the table of content. I have exactly the same book, right? So I would know
yeah.
which one. You just say, oh, this one, okay.
Uh I think it was chapter 9, the inventory one. Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's open chapter 9 for now because what I want to know right now is whether you like the book better or the book makes more sense to you. That's what I want, right? For chapter 9, you're reading it because of the exam coming, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go to chapter 9. Now, you're going to put the book on the camera so that, so even though we're going to read it together, but the problem is I cannot see what you're reading if you don't. So, okay. Yeah. So this is your book, right? So you can please take a pencil and then we're gonna go through a few things and then see whether it makes sense or not. It was never about memorization. It is about whether it makes sense to you, right? Not to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Tidak apa-apa. So for some reason, he stuck with inventory with non-current asset. In your own words, so I guess that means inventory is current asset lah. I guess lah, yeah. Why do you think that is, according to you? Does it make sense?
Because like inventory is an asset that you have at like that you currently have, yeah,
Okay.
at the time, yeah.
No, no. Let's talk about the meaning of current and non-current. As
Uh,
in, it's a very weird. Remember that accounting always use weird words. We
yeah,
better know what they mean, and I will use the practice as replacing those words lah. Now, current doesn't mean now, I guess, and non-current doesn't mean tomorrow. I guess that's not what they mean, I think. I don't think so. I don't that's what I mean. What do you think they mean with
uh,
current and non-current?
I think the non-current is like after a couple years, right? I think 2 years.
1 year. 1 year, 1 year.
1 year.
Let's say 1 year
Yeah,
lah. So more than 1 year. More than
yeah.
1 year. Yeah. So an inventory is probably current, which is 1 year or less. Could you explain to yourself what that means?
Huh?
Inventory is maybe a current asset, right? Maybe.
Yeah,
So less than 1 year asset, 1 year or less asset. Remember, I'm replacing the word
yes, yeah.
current with what it actually means. So, but what does it actually mean, Lee? An asset which is 1 year or less? What does that mean?
Inventory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. An inventory is a current asset, let's say. Current asset means an
Yeah.
asset which is 1 year or less. Again, what
Yeah.
does that mean to you?
Uh, you have to sell it in a year or
Not you
something.
have to. No, 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 not you have to, but you expect to sell them
Yeah.
in 1 year.
Oh,
Or less, or less. Expect, you expect. I mean, if people don't buy how, right?
yeah.
Maybe you will do a warehouse sale, lah. Maybe you do discount, no? Will do discount, lah. Which I think they will cover kind of later on, lah. Okay, totally agree with you. From now on, I will use the word current non-current as 1 year or more, 1 year or less for now. Okay, and
Yeah.
we're using this habit so that our thinking is a more understanding one. Papara, papara, papara. I am going to go to, okay, page 91, please. I'm sorry. You have read this as a chapter, right? If you look at a page and you say you want to ask something, you gotta ask yourself.
Okay.
You gotta take initiative. Me, I'm just jumping to things that I think is the most important one. But you must note that I'm jumping. For example, I don't care about decision A, decision B, because I think you can understand.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, then you better tell, because I tell you what, the decision A, decision B is always in the exam one, and they give quite a good mark for it. You understand me, yeah? Okay. If you feel that you want to ask something, you check out for a while first. If not, then we'll go 91. Okay. Are you sure we can go 91 now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go 91 first. So cost of purchase, which is the term that I just want to confirm with you, right? There's a cost of purchase, and later on, there will be cost of sales. There will be. I'm gonna show you. Wait, so I think, oh man, could the chapter just not split it this way? Wait, so yeah, I don't like them splitting it this way. Hmm. Oh, there you go. There. Okay, cost of sales. Okay, yeah.
To get a pen.
Sure thing. But
Yeah,
pencil and pen.
my
Okay,
pen
sure thing.
too.
Mhm.
Hello.
Yes, are you back?
Or
All right. Okay. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to talk about the phrase cost of purchase and cost of sales. Okay. Can you please confirm that cost of purchase is something that you understand? It is this page lah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you something about cost of purchase. The phrase cost of purchase is never used in accounting, as in the accounting books. But the concept is definitely there. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, look at this. The cost of purchase is, the stuff itself, 4,000 plus shipping lah, basically, right? Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
He, for some reason, does not include the salaries of salesperson. And he does not include the warehouse rental.
Yeah.
Okay, that is more of a rule which kind of makes sense. So if you see all this, you will record only up to the repackaging lah, the shipping, insurance, tax, whatever. The seller, he explains why, and the reason is reasonable lah. Now I'll give you a real example. If you're selling a car, Your salaries of salesperson will be very big. But if you are selling bulk toys, the salesperson is usually not very big. I mean, it differs per business lah. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that why they choose to separate? Actually, I don't think so, but we'll just follow the rule. Just remember that we're not going to put in the salary of the salesperson because it exists. We're also not going to put in the warehouse rental because it exists, but again, we're not going to put it in. Just
Huh?
okay, never mind. My point is like this. I'm sorry. My point is like this. The most important thing is that you know that salesperson must receive salary. That's the most important thing. Warehouse rental is also there. You must put in the rental what? Because when you buy something, you put it somewhere, and that somewhere will cost money. I think that's the main lesson here. Number one. It's not that you're memorizing what is in and what is out. You're memorizing that everything exists. It's just that for convenience purposes, salaries and rental are not in cost of purchase. Are just not in there. Okay. If you decide for yourself, for your accounting business, that you want to include the warehouse and sales of salesperson to yourself for your own accounting, can you do that or not?
Yeah. No. Yeah. You can, right?
Yeah, but the problem is therefore not for you lah. The problem is therefore later only you understand it. As a
Yeah.
general rule, if you want other people to understand, these two should be put separately. It's not that these two doesn't exist. These two exist, but it should be put separately. That's just the general law of accounting. Everybody just kind of follow that so that we understand, oh, cost of purchase, okay, still you got to include salary and rental later, okay, something like that. Something like that. Okay. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Right? So that's just a rule. But again, the most important thing to know is that they do exist. Right? They do exist. Okay. And I have one very practical point. You flip to the next page. You flip to the next page. Look at the word inventory, the first one. Inventory 5,048, correct? That is purchase of goods 5,000, shipping cost 48. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That is cost of purchase one, correct?
Yeah.
But they never use the word cost of purchase. They use the word simply inventory.
Yeah.
The
So
concept
you
is there. Yes, you're
just
saying?
call it inventory.
The word for cost of purchase is inventory.
Okay.
Even though you will notice, actually the inventory only 4,001. The inventory is not 5,000. It's not 5,048 one. 48 the shipping cost one. Correct or not?
Yeah.
Using the word cost of purchase might be better, but that's not what they use. They just use inventory 5,048, which I must say first, it is a bit confusing lah. You're going to count your inventory and you're going to say, but the stuff is only 5,001. I mean, have you buy something like this? Have you bought something which costs $30, but the shipping cost is also $30? Have you done that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, your inventory is actually just $30 when you arrive. The $30 is spent for shipping, and yet accounting rule insists that you record the inventory as $60. Now, what does that mean? If it doesn't mean, it doesn't make sense to you, you will always commit mistake one in that sense. What does that mean? How come the accounting rule insists that you don't record it as $30? You must record that stuff as $60. Do you have any? Yes, you're saying?
The shipping is like it is a part of the inventory. Yeah. Oh.
It's part of the price of the good.
Yeah.
You can accept that. You can accept that. Even though the goods is 5,000, but their shipping cost what? So 5,040 is the actual price, no? So to speak lah. Even though the goods that you buy is $30, but $30 to ship, then the goods is actually $60 lah. I don't care about you shouldn't care about the original $30 already. It is actually 60. This makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Then I hope you will never make the mistake of just recording or expecting the staff cost, because shipping is a real thing lah, so to speak lah. Shipping is
Yeah.
So if you expect the stuff to arrive very quickly, then that stuff is going to be more expensive than if you can wait for 1 month. if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, so that's inventory with the phrase cost of purchase, which is never used, but the concept is used. Clear, yeah?
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now I'm going to the word cost of sales, which is always used. The page on the left. We got to understand that thing and how to use it and whatever mistake. And then we can now understand page 93. So I want you to understand page 92. Just make sure if you don't know anything, better ask. They always, this is always an important concept.
Okay.
Again, 92, any question?
No.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so something like this. I'm going to ask you to look at B, okay? I'm going to look at B. No, as in, no. Question, page 92B. Okay. You notice one thing, I had a thing. You notice one thing, when you buy the good, which is part A, there are only two records. There are only
Yeah.
two records. Inventory debit, I'll say debit means go up, okay? Easy first, Inventory go up. That makes sense, right? Okay. What doesn't make sense is that there's no shipping cost, whatever, maybe 200 already includes shipping cost, maybe, right? Okay. So 200. And then the one being credited, I'll just say credit is decreased for now. The cash at bank decrease. That makes sense, right? No problem, right? Okay. Two things lah. The one that makes sense. That is exactly what happened in page 93, date 14 March. To entry, correct? To entry.
Yeah.
Okay. But at page 92B, when you sell something, you have four records. Four, and four always happens. Let me mind you, the four always happen. Are you sure you understand or not? Are you
Yeah.
sure? Okay, then let's talk about the first 1,000 and the second 1,000. So he say, suddenly cash at bank go up 1,000. Then sales revenue is at credit, whatever that means, right? That's 1,000 and 1,000. Are you sure that part makes sense?
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. Why don't you just record cash at bank 1,000? Please circle that. Yeah, circle the cash at
This
bank. Use
one.
pencil, okay? Use pencil.
Oh.
Okay? Use pencil.
Oops.
So use pencil. Okay. So why don't you just record that? Because that makes sense, right? That's the part. Yeah, of course, when goods sold, so 1,000 go in, correct? Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then record inventory going down, which is inventory 200 credit. That's inventory going down. So record that too, Please do that. Please do that. Okay, inventory go down, right? Yeah, so circle that. So let me ask you that question. Hey, how come we don't just record these two? Makes sense what? Why do you have to record the extra sales revenue, whatever that is, suddenly, and then cost of sales 200? Do you have an opinion on this?
Not really.
Look at the common mistake below. That is exactly what the common mistake is saying. The common mistake is you only record these two. Just read that for what?
The trade receivables and inventory.
Why don't you just record 1,000 debit, credit 200 Basically, that's what the common mistake is saying. Why don't you do that? Something like that. Again, if your answer is you still don't know, then is it correct? Your answer is you don't know.
I think the inventory and the cost of sales must be tied. What's that mean?
Again. Sorry, I cannot hear. Say again. Say again. Say again.
Uh, what does it mean for it to be tied together?
The explanation. You're asking about the explanation, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. So first of all, like this. First of all, let's describe our confusion by putting question mark on cost of sales 200 and on sales revenue 1000. Can we say that those two numbers are not very clear lah, to us?
On
Okay.
this, a
Yeah,
question
just
mark
question
on.
mark that. Just question mark there. Just put a question. Yeah, question mark. The question mark is important. Cost of sales 200 also question mark. Maybe we can say because that's what you just said. What does that mean, right? Okay.
But what
Okay.
does it mean for it to be tied together?
Okay. I'll say something that I'll say something first. I'll say something first.
Okay.
There is a debit credit rule, as in, if I put something on credit, there'll be a debit of the same value. If I put something on debit, there will be another credit of the same value. Remember that? The double thing account lah, whatever. The most important rule in accounting, something like that.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now. That is what's happening. Okay, because according to that rule, which may not make sense, I agree first, yeah, it may not make sense right now, but if I put cash and bank 1000, which is debit, I must have another credit of 1000 immediately. I must.
Uh,
If my inventory decreased by 200, I must have another debit of 200 also. I must. If not, I'm violating that rule, whatever that means. And that's what's happening right now. That's not an explanation of why you should put the phrase cost of sales, but at least what I'm trying to say, this is the credit debit same thing rule, the double row, the double column accounting thingy.
yeah.
So am I making some sense? Okay. Still, put a question mark because you're not satisfied with it. Okay, yeah? You're not satisfied with it.
Okay.
Okay. You put that question mark and we will always come back to that one. I promise you, I promise you. Okay, promise you. Now, your job is to find another question mark if you have in the page and then put down question mark. For example, you object to the phrase must always be tied. Then put question mark there lah. Okay, put question mark there. Okay, so that you want it to be answered. You want to be answered later on.
Okay.
Anything else that you have question marks on?
No.
Okay. Again, I promise you, Kirby, we will come back to this, okay? We will. In fact, it
Yeah.
was in the previous chapter last, according to this book. Okay, so never mind for now. Now, let's talk about 1 and 2 for now. Because I noticed you go to page 93, we're going to skip that problem for now. I'm going to talk about something that I noticed you're always confused on. Okay, at page 93, let's compare number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Number 1, you seem to understand, no problem. Number 2 is usually my problem with you.
Isn't it just the opposite?
Correct. And
Yeah.
I noticed that sometimes you object, how come, for example, how come inventory, how come inventory can credit, debit is, trade payable, that kind of thing. You are saying that you have no objection at all with option number 2. You're saying, no problem.
With option number 2.
Number 2, I mean, transaction number 2, you have no objection at all. It's totally understandable to you.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's it lah. Okay. Because this kind of reverse thingy always happen. For example, it's what I'm saying today. Okay, if I purchase some good, then inventory debit, cash credit, right? Okay.
Yeah.
The reverse can always happen one. Again, the reverse can always happen one. There's always a scenario if I buy good, then I must return good. Always. Always. Let me put it another way. If there's a scenario where I sell goods to customer, making profit then there's always a scenario where the customer return good to me. There's always that scenario one. You gotta get used to that, not by memorizing. If you memorize, everything just out of the window already. Once things get reversed, maybe you put the debit and credit wrongly, and it becomes very confusing. You understand me?
Yeah.
Look at option 3 and option 4. Option 3 and option 4. Option 4 is the reverse of option 3. Correct or not?
Oh, yeah.
Correct or not? It's the reverse scenario,
Kind of. Yeah.
right? Now, here's my first challenge. Would you please cover option 3? Just cover it. Okay.
Three.
Yeah. Use a paper. Okay. No. Cover below. You only get to see the transaction record low. So we just sold good to customer. Okay. No. Close until the first line only. Close everything.
This.
You only get to
This.
see the number 3 one. Close up, go up more, a bit more. No, a bit more. A bit more. Close all the journal. Okay, stop there.
This.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is in exam, you will see this. Do you understand? Yeah, okay, good. In exam, you'll only see the first sentence, though. Hey, sell good to customer 3,000, cost of goods. This makes sense, right? Exam must tell you this, lah. Correct?
Yeah.
Then exam will ask you for the journal, lor. Correct? Okay.
Uh,
Without looking at the journal, you can look at the page 92 if you want, but not 93. Would you please tell me how many entries will be in the journal?
4.
4. And then what would that be in debit and what would that be in credit?
The debit will be the credit is inventory 3,000
Credit
and
inventory 3,000.
wait
Are you
credit
sure?
credit 700 for inventory.
Okay, great.
And
So
then
immediately the debit 700 is
the debit 700 is cost of sales.
I totally agree with you then.
Yeah.
And then the 3,000.
Then
Right?
then 3,000 on debit is trade receivable or cash at bank.
Or cash. Yeah, totally agree. Okay, then.
And then the credit is sales revenue.
Yeah. Now if you open it for a while, open it.
Yeah.
You see the bracket, you see the bracket.
Yeah.
I feel that this book try to explain, I feel. Like for example, the bracket says selling price, and then the bracket also say cost price. I feel that that's what normal people understand.
Yeah.
I feel that the bracket is helping, but I want to underline that the bracket is not needed in exam lah. They want to see the word trade receivable, not selling price, something like that.
Yeah.
They may use the word selling price or cost price on the question, like the selling price of this good is 3,000. The good was bought in 700. They can say that, but you cannot use the phrase selling price and cost price on the journal entry. This is clear?
Yeah.
Do you need to write that down? If you already understand, then no need to write too much. Just clarify that first. Okay. Okay. Once you're ready, you tell me, and then we move on to number 4, right?
I'm ready.
Okay. Sorry, you're ready, is it?
Not yet.
Okay. Think about it. Understanding more than memorizing.
Yeah. Like this, right? It's always when selling inventory, it's always trade receivables and cost of sales and debit.
Right.
So
Okay.
sales revenue and inventory.
Correct.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you just wrote your note just now because I didn't see you writing it?
I did.
Okay, that's what you make yourself, right? You make this yourself, correct? I would prefer that you kind of either understand or memorize it, but if you want to write a note, I have no problem doing that. Okay, no problem at all. Okay. Now I want to underline one thing. The 1,000 debit makes sense. The 700 credit makes sense. Correct?
1,000.
I'm sorry, the 3,000. The 3,000 debit makes sense. The
Yeah.
700 credit makes sense. Correct? That's the part that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay. The other 700 and the other 3,000 is us following the rule a bit blindly for now and memorizing the phrasing.
The 700.
Yeah,
the-
because the
this one.
inventory credit 700 makes sense. The cost of sales 700, never mind, I'm following the rule. For now, it feels like that.
Yeah.
The 3,000 cash in hand debit totally makes sense. The sales revenue 3,000, I am following the rule on credit. I'm following the rule. Okay, but at least I know I'm following the rule. That's the feeling. Okay, now that will come to play for number 4. You don't get to see the journal. You got to spell it out for yourself. Let's see whether you can work it out in your brain.
the fourth one.
Yeah, you don't get to see the journal.
What? Yeah. So
So you can write down if you want. You can just say it if you want. Up to you, whatever.
yeah.
But when
It's
you're ready,
just
you tell me lah. Yes.
uh
Hey,
the
don't look. Don't look. Hey, don't look.
yeah
Mhm.
the credit is trade receivables
How many?
for
How many?
1500, right?
Okay, that kind of makes sense. Okay. Then
Yeah.
the other 1,500 is
Then the other 1500 is sales revenue. You know,
in where? In where?
inventory. It's inventory, right? I think
And that would be, I
in
believe you are
credit,
wrong
in
already.
debit,
No,
or
you're wrong already. No, you're wrong already. You're wrong
uh,
already. But look at the guy on top. Look at the guy on top. Look at the guy on top.
yeah,
The guy on top is the 3,000 is cash debit, sales revenue credit. 3,000, 3,000. You're supposed to therefore say right now in number 4, 1,500 credit trade receivable. Totally agree with you, right? Totally agree with
yeah.
you. Then sales revenue debit 1,500. Because it's just the
Oh,
reverse of number 3, which I must say to you, sales revenue debit totally does not make sense right now. It
yeah,
totally does not make sense. And that's why I keep asking you, do you understand that we are sometimes just following rule for now? We are following right now. Okay. But that is what I believe you must record. And then your inventory will debit 700, not 1,500. Return the good, ma. The good,
the
no, not
inventory
700,
is what
sorry,
here.
350, 350. Your
Yeah,
inventory will debit
350.
350. And then the credit will be cost of sales 350, which again does not make sense. But I believe that's what it must be. If number 3 is like that, number 4 must be like that. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Now, please take a look at number 4, see whether that's correct or not. There you go.
Yeah.
Put
Uh,
put your question mark in detail, please. It's not everything doesn't make sense. It's certain parts doesn't make sense one. Okay? Certain parts doesn't make sense. Which part doesn't make sense to you? Just take note. Okay, this part doesn't make sense. The I want the that part doesn't make sense. No. The inventory makes sense. No, the inventory debit 3,350 makes sense. What? The other one is the one that doesn't make sense.
this one.
No.
What? The cost of sale?
That what? Wait. If
This
customer
one.
return good to you, inventory will increase. What? That makes sense. What?
Oh yeah.
Correct. What? That is the one that is supposed to make sense. And then your cash or your trade receivable will reduce by 1,500. Yeah, that also makes sense. What?
Yeah. Then
The part that you question mark are correct. The sales revenue debit, whatever that means, and the cost of sales credit totally does not make sense. Fair to say. Fair to say. Are we at least clear that there are certain
yeah.
parts that you should understand, and there are certain parts that you just follow rule for now? Safa.
Yeah.
Ken? Ken?
Yes.
This book seems to be good because he covered the reverse scenario immediately.
Yeah.
This book seems to be like that one. Okay, nice. I think this book is nice that way. Okay. Then something like this, something like this. This one I hope to emphasize on you, Kirby. You cannot memorize POA fully one. Cannot. If you memorize, you have to memorize the normal scenario and the reverse scenario.
Yeah.
It will
Yeah.
be too easy to mix up in exam. Just too easy already. Cannot. We must at least use a mix of understanding and memorization. You can memorize certain things lah, but memorize too much, you're gonna be die. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Confirm one. Clear ya?
Yeah.
Clear ya?
Yeah.
Clear ya? I hope I'm impressing, but because this thing always happen whatever the account is. It's not just because of inventory. Guarantee you. There's always a reverse scenario one. Okay. You cannot just say, oh, inventory must debit one. I can just no, doesn't make sense. Okay. If you're okay with 3 and 4, at least you're okay about the question mark. Okay. Let's at least leave them behind for a while and just please confirm that number 5 and number 6 seems to make some sense, I guess. What is that? Actually.
It's the thing. I think my
What
teacher taught
is
me.
okay? Like what
But
is that? I guess.
like
What?
at the end of a month, you need to like calculate using this, right? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but this book doesn't explain the rule lah. The book does not explain the rule. Oh, there you go, there you go, there you go. There you go, there you go.
How come it's
Okay, okay, okay.
so it's the same
Fact.
when you transfer and when you do the other thing?
Now let's talk about question 5 first. Okay, number 5 first. Okay, this book now a bit weird. The book talks about that in page 97. The number 5 is talked about at page 97. A bit weird. Would you please read that for a while? And again, let's talk about what you understand and what is confusing. Okay, let's talk about both.
Yeah.
Because a lot of fancy words lah. Let's just say lah, a lot of fancy words. He does not. He doesn't explain. Oh, the explanation is only at page 96. That's all. That's all. That's all. My goodness. Book, very summarizing. Hey,
So that's all.
yeah, really, that's all. That's all the explanation. I mean, in a very concise way, like a very concise way.
But isn't there like a chapter?
No, no, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. No, 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 no. The only thing is here. The only thing is here. Really, really, this inventory thing reducing in value. Okay, okay, look, impairment loss on inventory. The point is inventory
Oh
is
yeah.
losing value lah. That's all. Not gonna find it elsewhere. No, no, I guarantee you. So like this. Okay, I'll talk about the logic for a while. If it makes sense, then good for you. Okay, let's try. Okay, you bought your computer, right? You're a desktop guy, right? Desktop guy.
I have a laptop.
You have a laptop now, right? You have a desktop and a laptop, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
By any chance, is your laptop a MacBook?
No.
Do you own Apple stuff? I guess.
Yeah.
Phone? Or what is it? A phone, iPad,
Yeah,
or
my
whatever?
phone.
Okay, phone. Okay, my phone is also iPhone, but it's an iPhone SE1. You know, the mini, the
I used to
super,
have that. Oh, I have that.
You have your what? So your what?
I have it.
You have it right now. You're using the iPhone SE also.
No, it's my old phone.
Good. Your old phone. Okay, so you can buy a new iPhone, nice, whatever, right? I decided to save some money and do the iPhone SE1 back then. Okay, now,
It was
my point is
like
this.
iPhone 7 one.
iPhone, well, I guess the specs are not too bad. I mean, I don't need such a fancy phone. Let's just say I don't need a fancy iPhone 13, 14, 15. I don't need it.
Yeah.
But my point is this. If I'm gonna sell my phone, I'm gonna sell it at a loss, but not so bad compared to if I buy Oppo, for example. For example.
Oppo.
Have,
Uh,
yeah,
it's like
do you know there's a phone brand called Oppo?
I think so. It's like Chinese, right? It's like
Most phones are
Huawei.
Chinese. Most except for the chip inside. The chip inside will probably
Yeah.
be Taiwan or Korea lah. Either Taiwan or Korea, right? No
Then
Chinese.
Oppo, isn't that like a massage thing? Something like that.
Oppo, no, not massage. No.
Huh?
Oppo, no. Right, okay, just believe me that there's a phone called Oppo, right? It's not bad.
Oh yeah.
But
It
if
looks
I
like Samsung.
tries to copy, but Oppo is basically still more for not people who are willing to spend 2,000 on a phone. To be fair, 2,000 is a lot for a phone. To be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
To be fair. Not even 700. Maybe around 400 or 300. But of course, everybody want a nice phone. Now, Oppo will give them that. 400 or 300, you're getting a very nice screen, nice phone, quite a nice camera, quite speedy, yada yada. Okay, enough for everything you want. Enough for everything. Okay, so far so good, right? Okay, but if I sell my iPhone SE, 2 years from the day I buy, it will reduce by some percent. Oppo will reduce much more. So let's say if I buy Oppo at 300, after 2 years, maybe it'll sell for 100 to 150. Actually, 150 is a very good price already. Actually, lah. Actually. For iPhone, the depreciation, fancy word, is less low. If I buy for, I don't know, 600, maybe after 2 years, I'll sell for 400. I don't know, something. And percentage was is lesser. Can you? So
Is
the
this for
value, so if I own an iPhone and I'm an accounting freak, I will say my iPhone no longer worth 600. My
yeah.
iPhone will depreciate. That's the when you depreciate your capital, right? Your machine, everything, your cabinet, right? Same thing, no, your Oppo will depreciate. Now, turns out that inventory also depreciate. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Inventory also depreciate one. They don't call it
Yeah.
depreciation. They call it impairment loss. It's actually depreciation. It's actually depreciation. Okay.
Yeah.
In page 96, why would it depreciate? Please take a look. Okay, page 96, please. I think the number one reason should be the last one.
Outdated.
That should be the last one. If it is
Yeah.
outdated, the stuff is there, but you no longer can sell that well. You no longer can sell that. Okay. I think that's the most important reason for a modern city like us, lah. Stolen shouldn't be that much. Flood and fire, even less, even less. I feel like that's what I feel. Okay. My let's say one of my family trades on nuts and bolts. You know what's nuts and bolts?
Yeah. What's that? Wait, nuts?
Really nuts and bolts, like literally nuts and bolts,
Bolts?
like big screws,
Oh
like
yeah,
just big
yeah.
screws. They have warehouses and warehouses of big screws. Now screws don't go outdated one. They just don't go outdated. A screw is a screw is a screw lah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to buy a screw today, it's gonna be the same screw tomorrow or 10 years from now.
Well, what if
So
it rust? You know,
the screw
if
doesn't get
it's
outdated.
metal.
The screw doesn't get outdated. Okay.
I can.
iPhones get outdated. The screw doesn't. But I can tell you the screws do get stolen. Do they?
Yeah. Yeah.
By the employer sometimes, by the employee sometimes. Okay, that's one. No. Okay. Secondly, it's not the flood that's the problem, but it's rusting that's the problem.
Uh,
So depending on the type of goods, iPhone is more of an outdated problem. Screws is more of a stealing or rust problem, damage problem, no, basically.
yeah.
Okay. So be
Yeah.
open to these three things. That is how you depreciate inventory. That's the message. An inventory must be depreciated because if not, you're fooling yourself. Your desktop or laptop must be depreciated. If not, you're fooling yourself. That is the message of page 96 and 97. That's logic. That's not theory, I believe. It's really real.
Yeah.
Now, that's the end of my lecture. I'm trying to tell you the understanding instead of memorizing something. Any comments, any question marks?
No.
Now read through 96 and 97 and you're gonna put in question marks on things that you don't understand. Still same thing.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah, take your time.
yeah.
A lot of understanding is preferred here. There's a lot of fancy words, but the understanding is very simple one. Very, very simple. Okay. Okay. If there's a question mark, make sure you spot it.
I think I understood most of the thing on the stuff of in the page 97. Yeah.
Anything that is a question mark?
I don't think so.
All right. Then let's talk about NRV, a very fancy phrase, okay? Very fancy. Okay,
Yeah.
NRV. Net realizable, whatever that is, my understanding is precisely what the quick tip say. So let's talk about your iPhone, okay? Let's talk about let's say you own the iPhone SE and you now have a new phone, correct? You now have a new iPhone.
Yeah.
So you're looking to sell your old iPhone SE, let's just say lah, let's just say. Okay. Let's say you bought it at last time 700, let's just say that. Okay. So how do you check for your NRV of your iPhone SE right now?
And just search it up on the internet, right?
Which is a very simple thing, right? So what's the market price? So that's a fancy word, meaning on average,
Yeah.
how much do people buy and sell for iPhone SE, for example?
Yeah.
Okay. Easier said than done. I usually go to Carousel to check. Usually, I'll see some of the
Carousel.
prices there. Carousel is a market for second-hand
But
prices,
isn't
right?
that normally like full of scams and like
They overstate their price. They
yeah, yeah.
overstate their price, right? As in, I'm not looking to buy, I'm looking to sell. So I'm looking at what other people sell. Okay, let's say this guy sell iPhone SE for 500. I should discount it by around 30%. That's my expected value. That is if
Oh,
you're experienced with Carousel. You know that Carousel will overstate its price one. Okay. Because you
yeah.
cannot just type market price of iPhone SE because sometimes the market price is for American
Yeah, yeah,
market.
yeah.
You cannot just apply that. Why? Are you going to sell it? Are you going to send it to America? Then shipping costs gone already, right? You're just going to sell on Singapore, right? To be fair, selling second-hand phone in Singapore is much harder because people have
People
a
like
lot of
new
option
new
new
phones.
stuff and they can afford to be fair. So the price
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
lower one. If you go to America, it's easier to sell. But again, you're not gonna send it there, okay? That's just nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like that. So I check Carousel. Carousel is a local market, and then I discount it by around 30%. That's my expectation. That's NRV for me. NRV for my stuff. If I am an accounting freak, you're gonna tell me, write down on your paper right now. Okay, iPhone SE 700. Okay, that was your original inventory. Okay, so inventory original 700. Okay, now do your adjustment. Okay, now you decide to sell the iPhone after I don't know how many years, and then you do your market research, yada 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 yada. You expect to sell it at 300 only. So please do your inventory adjustment. What are you going to write? How are you going to?
For $400 worth of impairment
You got to
loss on
minus the
inventory.
worth of 400. Yes. How are you going to journal that? That's the question here.
Uh,
How do you minus the 400?
you put it on credit, debit. Debit 400
First of all,
on.
the inventory should be debited seriously.
So the inventory is credit, then
Credit, okay, you're
the
gonna
the
credit
debit is
400.
the impairment loss on inventory. That's the debit
Okay.
for
Which
400.
which which if you look at page 93 is exactly what happened.
Huh? 93.
93 question
Oh yeah.
number 5. Exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, the question will tell you, hey, the NRV is actually only 300, the original 700. You should write down inventory credit 400 lah, as in you work it out yourself. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair, yeah? So question 5, number 5 can make sense already?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess there's still number 6, 7, and 8 lah. I guess that is... never mind. Yeah, we have to cover 6, 7, 8, to be fair. We do have to cover 6, 7, 8, to be fair, right? Again, question mark, please. 6, 7, and 8 first. Is there any particular one? Not the most important one, but yeah, it's there, it's there, it's there, there. It will be there definitely.
What's the difference between partially covered? What's partially covered? What does that mean?
Are you talking about? Oh, right.
The
Okay.
8.
So yeah, number 8, right? Number 8. Okay.
Yeah.
So remember that inventory can be lost because of a few things. Tell me the three. Just tell me 3 ways where you should lost. Stolen, right? Okay, then
Outdated
outdated, and then damaged,
and
basically damage,
yeah.
whatever, rust, fire, flood. I mean, that's damage, correct? So what does does it make sense for insurance to cover that loss, so to speak?
Yeah.
So again, let me ask you in detail. Does it make sense for insurance company to cover obsoleteness or outdatedness?
No.
No. So we don't. But
Yeah.
it may cover stolen or it may cover damage lah. Maybe lah. Okay? Then
Yeah.
now comes question 8 lo. Question 8 is number 8 is insurance company partially covers. So you should have lost 400. Maybe insurance company covers 250. I don't know.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
So they don't cover it all.
For some reason,
if it's outdated.
so number 7 is fully covered. Number 8, not fully covered.
Yeah.
Okay. These things happen in real life. In real life, the insurance company will, do their own checking lah and say, no, we're not going to cover all. Or yes, we're going to cover some. Or yes, we're going to cover all, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes sense, ma. You go and buy insurance travel. Have you ever done that by yourself? Insurance travel
No,
insurance?
my parents
Yes, your parents do
yeah.
that. Okay, as well as I buy travel insurance for my son. In travel insurance, there's a point like this. Oh, theft coverage. Theft
Yeah.
coverage, maximum 300. Okay, maximum 300 per person. What does that mean?
So you can only get $300 per
Maximum.
person. Yeah.
Maximum. So if you get stolen 1,000, too bad, lo, only 300 lah. Plus,
yeah.
by the way, you better get police statement in the country, which is a hassle. Plus, by the way, you cannot just say, yo, bro, I lost 300, I lost 1,000 there. Can you give me back 300? Where's the proof? Police statement.
Wow.
Which is a super big hassle because it takes a lot of time. Do you want to spend your time in, I don't know, you go to Europe, right? You go to Paris. Do you want to spend half a day waiting at a police station in Paris?
No.
So you will just accept the loss and move on. Which is why travel insurance is not very useful. That's beside the point. Again, the point is insurance don't always cover everything. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Have I answered your question?
Yeah.
Okay. That's number 1 until number 8. We still have some time, definitely. You got to understand the rule. This is the rule of first in, first out. Okay, please check what that means, and I guarantee you that
I know what that means.
Yeah, okay.
It's
You know
just
what that
yeah, just that the thing that you buy first, you have to sell first. Right? Yeah.
true, but what is if you have more understanding to it, that's the rule. I guess I understand.
Makes it easier to read in the in a journal, right?
That means whatever you sold will be in order of purchase, something like that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Provided it's the same item lah. In the end, most of the time, what we bought is not.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I mean, in theory, this is good lah. But okay, never mind, never mind. Sorry. I'm going over syllabus already. In practice, that's not what you do lah. In practice, sometimes you're gonna buy something new and gonna sell it immediately. Just sometimes, like that one. But as a general rule, FIFO make sense, I guess, and the purpose is not actually to make it easy to read. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to avoid expiry or outdatedness. No? That's the purpose lah. To avoid damage, expire, because old stuff accumulate. If it gets older and older, it'll get more
Yeah.
damage or whatever. That's probably the more practical purpose, right? But
Yeah.
think what we want, that part is not tested. Why do FIFO? No, they don't ask. I'm just sharing with you the practical reasons of doing FIFO. Okay. You sure you understand FIFO?
Yeah. FIFA.
Uh, will it happen in exam or not? Just remember that there's a rule called FIFO for now.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to skip a lot of things if you don't mind. I'm gonna skip until um okay. I'm gonna skip the until question 95. Very interesting one. Yeah, this one.
95.
This one. Okay. No, as in chapter 9.5,
This
page
one.
99. No, page 99. No, I don't care about this one. I don't care about this
Oh.
one. If you have a question, you ask. Okay, now this one. Okay, now.
Okay.
This one is also a reverse thingy. What do I mean? This one is reversing the journal or the ledger, right, into what actually happened, so to
Yeah.
speak. Like. Usually, they give you what happened, and then you get a journal. Something like that. This one is interpretation, so it's a reverse logic, Reversing always happen in accounting, whether it's the reverse scenario or actually reversing the journal into what happened.
Oh, so you have to like
Write that down. Yeah. They give you the journal
oh
law, then you're
my
gonna
my
tell them what
teacher
happened. Hmm.
my teacher made me do a worksheet on that.
Sorry, do what?
Do a She made me do a worksheet on that. I can
The reverse.
trying to
Because
find it.
because it does happen in exam. And my point is this. My point is more like this. My point is that's the most important thing for a business owner.
Yeah. I think we went through the thing, like the worksheet, like a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
weeks
yeah,
ago.
yeah. Now, if
Yeah.
you're a business owner, if that's your plan, and your plan is not to be an accountant, let's say your plan, then this is very important to you. If you don't understand what you're reading, basically, right? If you don't understand what you're reading, then no point hiring accountant, no. So to speak lah.
Yeah.
Okay. So please write down in your own words first. I don't care it's about the fancy words, but you better use your pencil, I guess, and then go through June 1 until June 30, and then whatever you cannot reverse, we're gonna talk about it. Now, reversing
Okay.
doesn't mean I want you to write in English. Reversing means, do you understand what happened or not? Something like that.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Okay, so you're gonna do that. Okay, never mind the fancy words one.
Like I don't know. I write it all down like this on another paper.
Can also. If you want to, can. Anything as long as you are testing your understanding.
Yeah. It's like this, right?
I
Sure.
cannot read. Sorry, tell me.
Like
June one. Okay, right.
June
Marble,
1,
marble
the
had,
balance had
marble had.
one
Uh,
thousand dollars worth of goods.
yeah, pass inventory. Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, that
Yeah,
the word makes sense. The sentence makes sense. Sure, sure. We're not going to talk about the better sentence one. This is already good. Good. So
yeah.
now June 8th. Okay, June 8th.
Uh, that's just like Marvel purchased goods with 5,000. No, purchased $5,500 worth of goods, right? With cash. So you
Yeah, okay,
did.
okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do this. Okay, okay. Sorry.
Uh,
I'm gonna ask you to cover. I'm sorry. I forgot to do something. I'm gonna ask you to
cover.
cover the ones in bold because that is the interpretation. Okay. Sorry, never mind. Okay.
Wow.
So just cover, for example, for June 12, you're gonna cover the one below trade payable, the bolded one. Okay, use a paper or something.
Okay.
Okay.
Like this.
So that one is you're just purchasing more inventory using your money, lah, right? Using your cash flow, correct? Let me confirm one thing. That debit, is it the cash debit or is it something else?
Something else.
Which is? What is being
Um,
debited here?
it's just the money, right?
No, the one being debited is inventory. The cash at hand is being credited.
Oh,
Which let me ask you, it doesn't show here. There is no saying of credit cash 5,500. What happened to the entry?
uh,
Remember the rule, you're supposed to, if you debit 5,500, there's supposed to be a credit 5,500. Correct or not?
yeah.
Again, let me confirm one more time. This debit of 5,500 is the inventory debit or the cash debit?
Uh, that's the inventory, cash,
No, the
right?
inventory. The inventory.
Inventory.
Why or how do I know? Because this is not your full journal entry. This is only for inventory. That means it's everything related to inventory. So this is the debit of inventory. The title is inventory.
Oh,
The
yeah,
cash in hand is an explanation, meaning there is a credit of cash by 5,500. There is.
yeah,
There is. And again, that is proven by the word itself. So you open the words, it is purchase good with cash, right? You check it out.
yeah.
Open it, please. Open it. Open a bit. No. Just open a bit. Just open a bit. Cover the up here. Okay. So again, when we purchase good with cash, by right, the credit is what?
Uh, it's the inventory.
Uh-oh. See? You're confused already.
Huh? Wait, say that again?
You're confused already. Okay. So one more time. One more time.
Yeah.
The explanation is purchase goods with cash. In the
Goods
journal
with cash.
entry, what is the debit and what's the credit?
The debit is the cash in hand, right?
Okay, let me say it one more time. Okay, I'm purchasing iPhone with my cash.
The
You're saying that
debit,
my cash will debit. That's what
it's
you're saying.
debit up. You buy an iPhone.
Yeah, I buy an
That's
iPhone and then
debit
your cash
inventory,
debits.
then credit trade receivable or cash, right?
I think your cash should credit lah. I think so. Yes, your cash should credit.
Yeah.
Correct. What debits then? What debits?
Inventory.
Inventory. Okay. Now again, let me ask you for in entry June 8, right?
Yeah. How come
Where
it's
is
only
the
credit lah?
credit? Correct,
Yeah.
correct. You gotta understand this. Okay.
Oh,
The
do I have to
reason
write
is
it down myself?
no, no,
You
no, no, no,
know,
no. Okay. Let me explain. Because
is
this
it
is
just in
not
there?
journal. Because this is not journal.
Oh, because it's a ledger.
This one, ledger simply means a very fancy word. Ledger means the inventory grouping. So you go back to page
Yeah.
90. You go back to page 93, please. Go back to page 93. Let me explain what is ledger. Very simple. Ledger inventory will only take the inventory part. So for example, for number 1, he will only take the inventory debit 5,048. He
Yeah.
will, in the ledger thing, he will not worry about the credit side of the trade payable. He will not. Okay. And then number 2, he will talk about only inventory credit 2,000. In number 3, he only talk about inventory credit 700. Number 4, inventory debit 350. Number 5, inventory credit whatever adjustment.
Huh?
You are grouping the inventory debit credit into a ledger. A ledger is simply grouping all the inventory side. No? Yeah.
Oh, so like just the
Just the
inventory.
inventory. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Which means, by the way, there's a grouping for cash flow.
Yeah.
There is a cash ledger. There is a cash ledger. Okay, something like that. There's a trade payable ledger. There is the cost of sales and sales revenue ledger. They combine them
Yeah.
in a ledger. What does a ledger mean? I mean ledger that normal people don't use the word
Grouping.
ledger, right? Correct, right? Okay, you just grouping, no? You just grouping.
Yeah.
So that's why the cash in hand credit 5,500 doesn't appear here. Where does it appear? It appears at the cash ledger. It appears at the cash ledger
Yeah.
and the journal entry, the original journal entry. Now, am I making any sense here? You gotta tell me. Am I making any sense?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Now let's test you. So the June 12 one, don't look at the bolded one. You only see trade payable, and then you see the word debit. You only see the word debit 2,800. So what the heck happened here?
He bought goods with on credit.
Okay.
Right?
The amount of the goods bought is
It's 2,800.
okay. Now here's the question in exam. Okay, for example, here's the question in exam. What's the journal entry link? Now, does that make sense? I'm asking, hey, what's the journal entry for June 12 link?
Oh. That's trade payable. You mean like with the debit and credit, right?
Yes, the full entry lah. There's the
It's
debit
the
to credit.
trade payable 2,800 and inventory 2,800. You know,
You must say the debit credit. You must say the debit credit.
the debit is inventory 2,800
Okay.
and trade payable 2,800 credit.
Yeah, and you are correct.
Something like that.
You now
Yeah.
understand the difference between journal and ledger.
Yeah.
Okay, ledger simply means grouping. Journal is usually what you think about. When there is a transaction, you think about, hey, what happened? Oh, journal. That's journal. Journal is the important thing. Ledger is just grouping the journal. Again, let me see whether it makes sense or not. Does it make sense to say this? Without journal, there is no ledger, or without ledger, there is no journal.
Without journal, there's no ledger.
That makes sense. It's not the other way around.
Yeah.
Without transaction, there is no journal, or without journal, there's no transaction.
Without journal, there's no transaction.
Okay, the word transaction is actually what happened, something like that. What actually happened in real life, something like that. That's the wording that they use lah. So when they say there's a transaction, it's describing what is happening. Journal is your official accounting law, the first time you put in the transaction into the journal. So without transaction, of course, there's no journal entry lah, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Because transaction is the word they use to describe a reality lah. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Journal is the first thing, like journal entry. That's why they call it entry, you know. There is no ledger entry in the sense that Journal is the first time reality enters into your accounting lah. And then ledger is just taking your journal and grouping it so that you can track your inventory. Does that make sense? The inventory
Yeah.
ledger allows you to track inventory lah. Nice one. Very good one. I want to track my inventory one. Something like that.
Yeah, I understand.
So transaction, journal, ledger, all fancy words. We gotta understand, not memorize. If you memorize, we are gone already. Clear, yeah? Clear.
Yeah.
Now let's go through one by one this this ledger entry and ledger thing, and then let's talk about what actually happened. So I'm asking you for the transaction, and then I immediately ask you for the journal. Okay.
The
Trade payable this. So what's the transaction, and then what's the journal?
the transaction is it
What
is
do you think?
$900. He purchased goods on, he sold goods for $900
How
on
can
credit
that therefore
or
be trade
something.
payable? Cannot be.
Uh,
Cannot be. That's called trade receivable, by the way. You're wrong. This one totally wrong.
he
You misunderstood the reality.
oh
Okay.
oh
Try again.
oh oh I know. He returned goods
He
on
returned,
credit.
He returned goods to the same supplier, probably the one with the
Yeah.
trade payable one. Okay. Okay. Let's say that's true. Then what's the journal entry, Lee?
Then the journal entry is inventory on credit for 900 and trade payable on debit for 900. Right?
Which is confusing because this thing say trade payable on credit. That is very
Yeah.
confusing. Okay, very confusing already. Right? Very confusing already. Okay. You are wrong. I just tricked you. You are correct. The credit here is not trade payable. The credit here is inventory. Remember, it's not the trade payable which is being credited here. This is always the debit and credit of inventory. You are correct. Trade payable debit 900. I just tricked you and you say yes to me. Okay. Every time I trick you, you gotta pay me money.
Huh?
Okay, never mind. Don't say yes to that. Don't say yes again. Okay, I'm tricking you again. Okay. Okay, good. Now one more. We have one more. Okay, we are running out of time. Never mind. Okay, one more. Give me one more. The cost of sales thingy, right? Cost of sales. What is that?
Yeah.
Interpret what happened. Okay, what's the transaction and then what's the journal?
1600
1600 1400 1400.
11400.
Cost of sales, credit. What is this? What's happening?
He sold $1400 worth of goods.
Sure. If that is true, what's the journal entry? Kirana, I can see you, yeah?
Inventory 1400, debit for debit cost of sales 1400.
Again,
Right?
the credit is which one? The credit 1400 is who? Sorry.
Inventory.
Okay, and then the debit is cost of sales.
Yeah.
I believe you are right. I think your transaction is also right. Are you sure you're not confused with the wording here? Cost of sales, credit 1,400. Are you sure you are not confused here?
Yeah.
Because it's not the cost of sales which is being credited. It is an inventory which is being credited. The cost of sales is an explanation. Are you sure you understand ledger? You're very sure. Okay. It is no longer very confusing. Okay. Your homework is very clear. You're gonna read until the rest, interpret, and then write down the journal entry lah.
Wait, what?
For this whole ledger law. Remember, the exercise is to interpret. That means you think about the transaction and then you think about the journal entry.
So I have to write it down for homework.
That's up to you, but you're gonna probably have to do that in exam. So I guess that's good. I guess.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Now, Kirby, can I confirm
Yeah.
something? Okay. Tomorrow, can I confirm? Are you going to attend or do you have to look and see?
8 can 8 out of 10.
Okay, which is I will see you at 7:30 lah, correct? 7:30.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, then good. I will see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye, Kirby.
Bye.
Yes, Kirana, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Kirana, let me ask you, how are you feeling right?
Okay.
All right. You don't sound tired, but just checking, are you tired?
No.
All right. There's a different kind of tiredness, which is the mental tiredness. Sometimes we call it burnout. Are you feeling burnout? Right.
No.
All right then. Then, as you wish, let us continue today. Right? For 1 hour, that's fine. Okay. It's CNY. Please enjoy. What should we study today, Kirana? Tell me your updates and everything.
I don't really have any like math questions I need to ask.
The reason is because
Like I finished all already.
that means the homework, you mean?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the E-math or the A-math or both?
E-math. E-math no
Alright.
homework.
A-math, no homework. Okay. Why is that so? Is it because last week is a half week thingy, or is it?
Not sure, but like my teacher never gives
All right,
any
understood.
homework.
Can I confirm, just to confirm that whether your A-math has entered a new chapter or is it new?
No, it's only E-math that got new chapter.
And is the homework on the new chapter?
I know homework for the new chapter.
Okay. So you have homework for the old chapter, so to speak.
Huh?
You have homework for the old chapter, lah, right?
I don't have already though.
As in you finish, right? You finish, which is to
Yeah.
say, because that means those homework are the last few of the chapter. As in, that's the hardest question, lah. Correct or not? Should be. But you can do them.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Then you have a few options. Remember, as a good student, you always strive to prepare for the class. You don't strive to understand, you strive to prepare for the class, right? So you have quite a lot of options. You can prepare your E-math, which is talking about the new chapter. You can prepare your A-math, that's also possible. You can talk about science also can. What shall we do today?
Wait ah. Do you do POA?
Yes, I did. I was just explaining POA to your senior, Kirby, just now. You want to talk about POA?
Yeah, because I didn't really understand.
No problem. Can I ask you a few things about POA before you ask me? Right. So, again, tell me, why did you in the end take POA? Tell me the situation or the reason.
Because my dad asked me to.
Huh? Okay. All right. Your dad asked you to. All right, and you agree now. But what is your dad's reasoning for you to take POA if he tells you?
Like he said can use in the future, like very useful.
I agree with that. Totally agree with that. Is your dad also helping you with POA? Just checking.
No, I do myself.
Okay, so your dad can help you on E-math and A-math and science, maybe, right, I guess, right? But not POA, definitely not.
I never asked him because I always understand, but like this chapter, like I don't really understand.
Okay, one chapter done. Okay, lah, fine, fine, fine. Okay, so I think it's better that you use your video now, lah. Okay, you're gonna show me your text or whatever paper, and it's better to talk from there. After this, I want you to tell your mom and dad that you're discussing POA with me. Just inform them, okay? Okay.
Wait, can I take something first?
Of course.
Hi. Philip.
Halo, iya. Gimana sih?
Philip,
Mau belajar POA.
Oh bisa, no problem. Baru tahun ini aku itu bagian dari subjek yang aku bisa bantu lah. Baru tahun ini memang.
hebat sekali ya kamu ya.
Ternyata PO itu orang minta. Ya karena itu aja sih.
Ya sudah, aku tinggal ya.
Sip, no problem.
Bye-bye.
Yuk.
Ambil pensil.
Okay. But the video is not very, I think it's a connection problem. So maybe you help me zoom in a little bit, I guess. I think there might be a connection issue right now. If I really cannot see, yeah, then you're gonna take a picture. Lor. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So there's a connection problem. We just wait for a while, okay? Because I'm starting to be able to read it. Okay. So I'm reading stuff like this. May 1, cash at bank, debits 10,000, capital credit 17,000, and all those stuff, right? Okay.
I
Now,
got like the examples in my. I can like share screen.
sure. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, share screen. Better. Yeah, good. Is this so you're sharing screen? Oh, you're taking picture from your book. Am I correct?
Yeah, I took picture.
Okay. All right. So let me just make your video bigger for just a minute now. So how do I do that? I have no idea how to do it. Okay, tell me, what is your question, Kiran? So far I can read.
I don't understand uh I don't understand if like for example like the March 18 one, right?
Okay.
Because they say like bought some goods and then the $4,300 by check, which is like inventory and cash at bank, right?
Yeah.
Then like I don't know which one to put on top, which one to put at the bottom.
Okay, let me try to explain. Let me try, because I'm actually trying to understand your understanding. Okay, you always put the debit guy first, the credit guy below. Is that your question or is it
Yeah.
something else?
Like
Is your
March
question
18,
what? Mm-hmm.
I don't know like which one to put first, like the inventory first or the cash at bank first. Like for example,
Right. So you don't think like that. You think who is the debit, who is the credit? You think first. Oh, in this case, if you think that the inventory is debit, the cash and bank is credit. Let's say you think like that lah. Okay, then you wrote all the debit first and then you wrote all the credit. Is your question like this? Is your question why inventory debit and why cash credit? Is that your question?
yeah.
Then it's a different question from which one to write first. Correct, yeah? Let me confirm. Your question is how come this means inventory debit, cash credit? And your video is gone. Your video is gone. Okay. Yeah. So Kirana, let me try go landscape, please. Okay. Again, Kirana, can I confirm your question is why debit 4,300 cash? Why cash credit? Why inventory debit? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then let's talk about it. Okay, because this is quite early. I'm surprised that you already have all this. Okay. Okay. So let's look at this. Now, maybe I'll start from the cash first. Maybe I'll start from the cash. Now, have you seen a check before?
A check.
Yeah. Have you seen a check before?
Yeah.
Okay, then if you've seen or use a check, which is very unlikely, you cannot write your own check one. You probably cannot receive check, but you've seen a check. I'll tell you how a check works. A check will work only if you have the money in the bank. So if your money is, let's say your money in the bank is, I don't know, 1,700, let's say, from all the ang bao you save. Okay. You cannot write a check for other people, meaning you cannot, give somebody a check worth 1,800. Cannot. The bank will immediately reject that check because the bank knows you only have 1,700. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so now back to the recording. Now, what you're talking about the recording, the journal record, right? So you never record check as the record. You always record as cash though, because check does mean cash in the bank. If you're gonna use the word check in the record, you're gonna use it in bracket only. That means it's more like everything in bracket is an explanation. So this is an explanation. I didn't actually go to the ATM, draw money, and then give you. I didn't actually do that. I actually more like write a check. Nowadays, by the way, people do bank transfer lah. Check is a whole thing lah. Just saying, okay? People will usually do pay now or whatever. Okay? Have you done your pay now, when paying something?
No, only my dad.
You mean you never buy anything with your phone?
I don't even have PayNow.
From all your life as a 14, 15-year-old, right? throughout your
Yeah.
15 years of life, you have never paid for anything other than using cash.
Yeah, never.
Okay. So you have seen your dad use PayNow, but you haven't seen your dad write check lah. Never, right? Check is a very rare thing. Correct or not?
No.
So I'll tell you lah, check is just like PayNow lah. Very easy lah. PayNow doesn't work if you don't actually have the cash. So check also doesn't work if you don't actually have the cash. So if your dad do PayNow, in the journal record, you must write cash, but maybe bracket PayNow. That's probably fine. The bracket is not needed, but it's nice to have only. Am I making any sense right now?
Mm.
So just like May 8, look at May 8. You bought fixture and fitting worth 3,400 by check. The record is still cash at bank because check means cash, just like PayNow. Again, am I making any sense right now?
Hey, wait, wait. It's the wrong paper. Say.
Okay.
Okay.
So you use this, which is still the thing, right? So again, you look at March 8, right? You're asking about March 18, but compare March 8 with March 18. Both are by check. The journal entry is still cash at bank. There is never the word check. Just checking. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, clear, yeah? Clear, yeah?
Yeah.
So both are cash at bank credit. Now, did your teacher tell you what debit, the word debit and the word credit means?
She only thought about debit note and credit note.
What do you mean by debit? So debit note and credit. So what does that mean?
Debit note and credit note.
What do you mean by debit note and credit note?
It's like debit note is like a note for like the credit customer, like like it's like they need to like pay more.
Debit note and credit note. Okay, never mind. I'm not talking about it. Okay, no. Okay, I'm just talking about something like this. Okay, something simpler. How come the cash is credit at March 18? How come the cash is credit? What does that mean to cash is credit? And how come the inventory is debit? Like, what does debit mean? Because that was your original question. Do you understand the word debit and credit? That's what I mean.
No.
Okay, I'm trying to use the best explanation I have so far. This explanation will work 60% of the time. What does that mean by it works? It will make us understand. So 60%, okay? In this case, it will work fully. I'll show you in cases where it doesn't work. But right now, that's not a problem. Right now, my explanation will work fully. If you think about credit as decrease and you think about debit as increase, you will immediately understand March 18th. So one more time, I'm asking you to think about the word debit as what?
Wait, what?
Again, debit means increase, credit means decrease. Okay? Okay, for now, it will work. There are cases where it doesn't work. I'll show you later. Not now, no problem. So look at March 18. If I buy some goods worth 4,300 by check, does it make sense to say inventory debit means inventory increase lah by 4,300?
Yeah, I try to understand.
Yes.
So
again, write pencil in your debit, write down as increase, something like that. Just use pencil, don't use pen, okay? Okay. increase. Then debit means credit means decrease. For now, we'll use that meaning. So whenever you write down inventory debit, you're saying that, my inventory increased by 4,300. And then my cash is credit. So what I'm saying is the cash decreased by 4,300.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, in March 18, because you buy goods, obviously my inventory will increase and obviously my cash will decrease. That is if you use common sense. That's common sense. That's not memorization. Don't memorize those kind of things. Very dangerous. Can ya? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So by March 18, if you understand, then March 8 you should understand. No, they're very similar. Just to check. Yeah, can ya? Now look at March 1 for a while. That is where you see the cash is debit. That means cash increase, not decrease. Correct or not?
Yeah.
Okay, March 8, the owner set up and deposit 50,000. So, my cash or the bank's the business cash increased by 50,000 instead of decreasing. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
The cash and bank. The one that doesn't make sense is how come capital credit 50,000? It's very confusing one.
Yeah. No, because right.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did like a practice in class.
Yeah.
And then like the teacher put cash at bank for debit and capital for credit.
I mean, you just follow, right? Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Following is good. Certain things you have to follow, but how do I say? How do I say? I'll give you the reason why you have to understand as much as possible, meaning you minimize the memorization. Let me give you the reason, okay? Later on, as exam come, where's the real exam, there is always a reverse scenario. Let me explain the reverse scenario of March 1. What is the reverse scenario? Very simple. The reverse scenario is the owner withdraw money. Okay. I'm going to ask you to write down this reverse scenario of March 1. Just write down in pencil anywhere you want. Okay. So the reverse scenario of March 1 is the owner withdraw, let's say, I don't know, 10,000. The owner withdraw 10,000 for personal use. This thing totally happened in real life. And it also, of course, totally happened in exam because the exam questions are based on real lives. So before we continue, does it make sense that the owner can sometimes withdraw money?
Yeah.
Okay, let me check one more time. Do you want to be an accountant or do you want to be a business owner?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not saying that you want to be both right now, but what appeals you more? You find it more interesting if you do be an accountant, or you are more interested? It is more interesting if you be a business owner in the future. I don't know if you ever thought about it.
Business owner.
Okay, which you know what? I agree. Most people do not want to be accountant. Most people want to be a business owner. Accountant more specific. By the way, if you're accountant, then you work for other people. What? I mean, you work for other business owner. That's what you do as an accountant, right? When you learn POA, there are two ways to see it. Either you are looking at it from, I want to be a business owner in the future, or I want to be an accountant in the future. Most of the time, it is better for us to think like, oh, maybe one day I want to be a business owner. Maybe. Therefore, I better understand what my accountant do for me. In POA, they assume they are teaching you as if you are to be an accountant. But that's not interesting for most people. For us, students, it is better to think that next time I'm a business owner, I better understand accountancy. Not next time you want to be an accountant, so I better understand accountancy. Okay? Okay. So now, if you're an owner, very simple. If you're an owner, you don't have to worry about accountancy for now. If you're an owner, does it make sense that sometimes you have to, put your own money to the business? If it doesn't make sense to you, you tell me immediately, okay?
Yeah, because capital what, right?
So what does that mean to you? As in, I'm really asking your opinion, I'm not asking your, fancy words. How come if you're a business owner, you have to put in your own money sometime, what? As in for capital, like, what does that mean?
You want to set up, then you need money, what?
For example, for what?
Like, if like you want to set up, you need to have inventory. Like you need to have like goods to like
You
sell.
have to buy goods, lah. And why do you want to buy goods? Because you want to sell them, lah. Okay, totally makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. And turns out that this question kind of tells you, okay, turns out that you also want to buy sometimes some furniture, lah, something like that, right? Sometimes you want to buy something because office, at the very least, you want to buy a laptop, at the very least, lah, something like that. Okay, so putting in your own money makes sense if you are setting up a business. Now, does it make sense that sometimes you're the owner and then you take money from business?
I mean,
Think about it. Mhm.
it makes sense.
Because if I may add, in the end, why do you start business? Not so that you lose money, You start
To
business
earn.
so that you make money, but why do you want to make money? Because you need money. You yourself need money, not just your business. So sometimes you will withdraw money from your business for your own use one, which is said in the sentence in the question, it say, owner withdraw 10,000 for personal use. Okay, that's what happened. Okay. That is what I say, the reverse scenario of March 1. So far, everything makes sense?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to write the journal entry for owner withdraw 10,000.
I already read.
Okay. Somewhere lah, just because all you have to do is say, okay, what's debit, what's credit, and what do you write? Okay. If you're not comfortable writing on this paper, then do another paper lah. If you're confused, again, tell me immediately.
I write already.
I know, but this is transaction. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I gotta clarify what transaction means. Okay. When in POA, when they say transaction, they mean something like, okay, what happened in real life? Owner set up this, and deposit. Oh, that's what happened in real life, no? Okay. Owner withdraw 10,000 for personal use. That's what happened in real life. That's called transaction. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Now, then the POA question will say, prepare the journal entry. Those are fancy words for you tell me what is debited and what's credited. For some reason, that is the most important thing in POA right now. From real life happening, you gotta be able to tell who is debited and who is credited. Let me repeat that. From real life, you gotta tell who is increased and who is decreased. You gotta be able to tell that. Okay, so far so good?
Yeah.
Now, owner withdraw $10,000 for personal use. Who is increased, who is decreased? You can start from either one, whichever makes sense. Either the one increase first or the one decrease first in your mind, doesn't matter. Which one?
Cash in hand increase.
Cash in hand increase. Now, let me repeat what you're saying. Owner withdraw 10,000, cash in hand increase by 10,000. Make sense?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you are totally wrong. Let me tell you why. Because the cash in hand is not the owner hand, it's the business hand.
Oh.
Your cash in hand increase, I agree. The business cash,
decrease.
Do you understand that? That's my first lesson to you. You gotta separate yourself from the business.
So cash in hand is only for the business.
Always from the business perspective.
Okay.
Always. Whatever you wrote is always on the business perspective. You cannot see it as yours. But let me repeat this. You're right, Lo. Cash in hand business decreased 10,000. Your cash in hand increased by 10,000, correct? But we are not doing accounting for you. We're doing accounting for the business. That's why you think, oh, cash in hand business decreased 10,000, which is credit 10,000. Okay, now you're going to write down cash, credit 10,000, use the column and everything, right? So the first thing that makes sense to you seems to be cash for business, 10,000 decrease. So okay, let's write that. Okay, you write the debit, you write the credit, which is nice. Okay, then what do you write for credit 10,000? What is it?
Wait, but credit 10,000 is at the bottom.
Yeah, which is fine. You write the bottom one first, you make space for the top one. Does that matter? No, right? Thinking wise, it's easier to write credit first because for some reason that makes more sense right now. So you just make space lah. Write down cash lah, cash at hand or whatever. Write down lah. You gotta write down the explanation, right? Write down cash at hand on the left, right? You gotta write an explanation, right? Cash at hand, and then make some spacing, right? They teach you, okay, if you write for credit, you gotta space a little bit, okay? So you write that. Okay. So for some strange reason, your teacher say, if there is a credit, there must be a debit. If there's a debit, there must be a credit, right? If there is an increase, there must be a decrease. If there's a decrease, there must be an increase, whatever. So if credit cash 10,000, who's the debit? Who is the debit?
Wait, but then right, for the cash in hand, then shouldn't like cash at bank be decreasing, not the in hand?
Okay. Then say cash at bank. Oh, so I'm sorry. You're absolutely correct because you are withdrawing usually from the bank one. No, you're absolutely correct. We should write cash in bank. Sorry. My mistake. I didn't realize they already teach you the difference between cash in hand and cash at bank. Did you?
Like they already stated it in the textbook. Like cash in hand is like in cash, then cash at bank is like the cash in like the bank.
Is not cash lah, so to speak. And you know what? You're totally correct. Okay, apologies for that. Cash at bank, credit 10,000. Usually owner withdraw also from the bank one. It's very scary to take 10,000 anyway, right? Very scary. So again, credit 10,000, debit 10,000. Who is the debit 10,000? What do you think? First of all, you must write debit 10,000 because no matter what, that must happen. The question is, who is the debit? That's the real question. Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea, Kira?
I'm not sure.
This is my second very important lesson to you. Yeah, you look at your original answer for March 1. Look at it. Okay, here you follow your teacher, right? You say cash at bank increase debit, right? And then capital, for some reason, capital credit 50,000. You follow your teacher, correct? This is, I set up for you a reverse scenario, owner withdraw. So if owner deposit, capital is affected. Owner withdraw, capital also affected. That means you flip back your paper. This one should write capital debit 10,000. Capital debit 10,000, and it doesn't make sense. I totally acknowledge it, but you must write down capital That is the debit 10,000. And then put a question mark. Put a question mark. To indicate that you don't understand what the heck capital means and how come it's debited 10,000. You don't understand it.
Mm.
But I'm saying that if you follow your teacher in March 1, if your teacher gives you a reverse scenario, then everything will also be reversed, is all I'm trying to say. Even though you don't understand what the capital means right now, but if there's a reverse scenario, the debit credit will also reverse. It's as simple as that. Am I confusing you too much?
Like kind of.
Let me try one more. If not, then I'll just follow. I'll go with the flow because you're early in POA. I'll just do one more thing because that means your teacher haven't exposed you to reverse scenario. Whereas that always happen in exam 1. It always happen one. In fact, your POA knowledge is never complete without the reverse scenario. I'm going to try one more and it doesn't work. That means we are too early. It doesn't mean that you don't understand. Okay. It just means that we're too early. Okay. Look at the March 18 scenario is bought some goods worth 4,300 by check. Correct? Correct.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Okay. Now I am going to tell you the reverse scenario. The reverse scenario is very simple, The reverse scenario is you return the goods. Correct? You bought some goods, you return some goods. What is the reason you may want to return some goods?
Maybe got damages.
Correct. You return some damaged goods. You know right now, you know the reality. The reality is certain goods arrive damaged. You're not happy. You return, I don't know, 1,000. Okay? So you write down the scenario. Return goods worth 1,000. You return damaged goods worth 1,000. That's the scenario. That's a transaction. Write that down in the the back page. That's the reverse scenario. And then tell me what's the debit credit.
Wait, so it's return damaged goods.
Return damaged goods worth 1,000, something like that, which is a very realistic scenario. Correct? Make sense or not? If it is a realistic scenario, it will be 1,000.
Okay.
From the original 4,300, right? You just return 1,000. Okay, you're happy with the rest. So what is the journal entry? What is journal entry? What is the official debit, credit, blah, 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 right? Okay, you can start with whatever the debit first or the credit first, whatever you feel you understand most. There is no rule to say you must start with the debit. You can start with the credit, just make space for the debit. You hear me? Do you understand? Okay. What makes sense is more important than how to write first, right? Okay. Right, debit and credit always left and right. So in this scenario, which one increases, which one decreases? What do you think? What decreases, what increases?
The inventory.
Will increase or decrease?
Decrease.
Which is credit, right? So you start with credit first, just make space for debit, right? So inventory decreased by 1,000. You write down inventory in the explanation. That makes sense, right? Okay. So after this, if you're right, the question is debit is also 1,000, but who is debit or who is increasing here if you return goods?
Cash at bank.
Which I totally agree with you. That's how business should be conducted. If you return damaged good, they should give you back your money. What? Correct or not? What? Look at this reverse scenario. Compare it with March 18. If both make sense, then your knowledge is complete. I'm serious.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I have good news for you, Kirana. You understand the reverse scenario, which is, let me repeat, it's very important in exam, okay? Because realistically, that will happen, okay? What you don't understand from the first one is the capital. It's not the reverse. The capital is the one that's confusing you. It's not the reverse scenario. Okay? So you have a question on capital, and I guess I'm guessing your teacher haven't explained much. Just follow me lah, the chess question. Okay,
Yeah.
correct or not?
Mm.
I'm not going to explain capital right now. Not going to explain capital right now. I'm just going to say something very nice because I think capital, they will explain more in the future one. Okay, I'll just tell you what capital means. Okay, I'll tell you, or rather, you tell me what you think capital means, then I'll tell you what I think means.
Capital is like what you start with in the business.
Not wrong. And that is a very common understanding. And that is an okay understanding. You need to have capital, correct? You need to have
Mm.
capital. Okay, let me tell you a slightly different definition. Yeah, capital is what the business owe the owner.
Owe to the owner.
Think carefully, yeah. The owner, March 1, right? The owner basically give his money 50,000 to the bank, to the business.
Mm.
Kirana, if you set up a business, you can tell me what kind of business you may want to start, just pretend, but something that you like, what will you start?
Uh, maybe stationery.
Okay, you want to buy and sell stationery. Maybe
Yeah.
Japanese stationery, very nice one, maybe, yeah. I don't know, Chinese, Japanese, whatever, huh? Fancy stuff, okay? You are going to put your own money. You know how many money you owe, right? So, but you got to say a certain amount of money you're willing to put into the business. Real money, please. How many money are you willing to put for your first business?
1,000.
Okay, $1,000. Good enough for stationery, okay? Good enough. Okay, if you want to buy a sell car, not enough. Okay, good. 1,000. So the owner, Miss Kirana, set up Kirana Stationery and deposited 1,000 into the business bank account. Correct?
Yeah.
Capital, that's capital for the business. Capital, 1,000, the business owe you. The business should pay you back one day. That's what it means, roughly. Don't think about capital as what the business have, so to speak. Yes, the business have. It is in the hand of the business, yes. But remember where it come from. It came from you. Business owe you 1,000. That's a rough understanding, which is kind of correct. They won't ask this in exam, but don't think about capital as free. Think about capital as you give the business. One day when the business thrive, business give back to you lah. Simple one. That is what capital means. What the business owe the owner, you. But since you're the owner and you like the business so much, you won't ask the business to pay you back until the business, make lots of money. You're the owner. You're very patient. Okay? That's what capital means. I'm not saying that this explains capital, why is credit, why is debit, but I'm giving you a new understanding of capital for now. Okay? Now, anything else you want to ask out of this, transaction?
No.
All right. Then, are you sure there's no other question for POA?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I'll do an exercise which will be useful in exam. Can I do that with you?
Okay.
It's the reverse scenario exercise. You and I are gonna come. No, you gotta show me this. 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 Because we gotta come up with a reverse scenario, right? Okay, you choose a date and then we're gonna reverse scenario. Which one?
March 17.
Which one is March 17? There's no March 17 here.
March. How about March 28?
March 28th. Okay, so pay 180 by check for utilities. You know what utilities mean?
Yeah,
Okay, what is that?
like electricity or
Okay,
water.
okay. I can tell you the reverse happened one. Very simple, very simple. The reverse is you pay too much. The utilities check. Oh, sorry, I charge you too much. It's supposed to be only 170. The utilities apologize, and then is apologies enough?
No,
What should the utilities do?
like return the
How many?
money.
How many?
10.
Okay, so in the transaction, we just created the reverse scenario, right? Utilities overcharge, they say, right? It should have been only 170. So now you, as per usual, write the journal entry. What should the journal entry be? Are you thinking or are you stuck?
A bit stuck.
Okay, again, think about it more like common sense. Okay, so utilities overcharge should have been 170, right? So you say, oh, that more utility must return to you $10, right? Okay, that is already enough for you to think about who increase, who decrease. Which one makes sense here? If utility return to you $10, is there anything which is decreasing or increasing?
Cash at bank increase.
Sure, cash and bank decrease, that means increase, which means debit lah. So you write that now. So debit first lah. So $10. No need to write debit again. On the left, always debit one, right? Okay, so just write $10 cash at bank, right? That's the debit side, right? The increase side. So again, there must always be a $10 on the credit side, right? So you just write down $10 on the credit, and then you start thinking, hey, who's credit? Okay, do you have any idea who's credit?
Is it the
If you're unsure, just look at March 28th. As in you're working for March 28th. Just look at that.
utilities expense?
All right. So utilities expense credit $10. Correct? Previously, the reverse scenario, utilities expense debit 180 lah. Now you credit the utilities expense by $10. Think about this carefully. Does this make sense or not?
Wait, you say what?
Previously, March 28th is you paying utility, right? You paying
Yeah.
utility. So 180 cash at bank credit, correct? Correct lah. And then the debit is 180 utilities expense. Correct?
Yeah.
Reverse scenario, overcharge by $10. So cash at bank, debit $10 increase. Utilities expense, credit decrease by $10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in total, if you sum up everything, your cash at bank only reduced by 170, correct? Just now, credit 180, but debit 10 what? So in total, credit 170 lah, the cash.
Yeah.
Correct? And then the utility expense, kan debit 180, but credit 10. So in total, only debit 170. Your utilities expense only increased by 170. All is correct now. Does this make sense, Kirana?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you this will happen sooner or later, depending on how your teacher will teach us. That is what completes your understanding. If you can reverse the scenario, that means you understand already. If you cannot reverse the scenario, something is incomplete. That is the test. For example, just now the capital thing. You think you can follow the teacher. Then suddenly the scenario reverse, you cannot do it. Your understanding is not complete. It's a very good check. Okay.
Yeah.
Choose one more, please.
March 30.
March 30. Okay. Then you invent the scenario, please. The reverse scenario. Tell me first, what's the reverse scenario for March 30?
Wait, can it be like they undercharge you? Then like you have to pay extra.
Which is not reverse scenario, but that's just more of the same scenario. But is that okay or not? Is that okay as a scenario in exam?
Yeah.
Yes, can. So you're not practicing the reverse, but you know it's not reverse. So you go and you say, oh, it turns out that the maintenance undercharge. You're supposed to pay 52.5, for example. Let's say that. Okay, so what happened to the journal entry?
Increase to 50.
I mean, what increase, what decrease? That's the question. Which the question?
Cash at bank decrease.
Credit? How much?
250.
Okay, and then what's the debit link? What included?
Debit increase to 50 for maintenance.
Maintenance, or maybe your teacher sometimes say maintenance expense. It depends. It depends on what they say lah. Okay, if I were to be complete, I'll write down maintenance expense. I'll say that.
Maintenance expense.
The undercharge scenario makes sense, right? Now, I have to be very sure with you right now. If overcharge, who debit, who credit?
If overcharge,
by $10, whatever. Overcharged by $10. Then what happened?
cash at bank increase.
Which is debit or credit?
Debit.
Agree with you. How many?
Then
How much?
250.
No, $10. Just now overcharged $10.
$10.
Okay, $10. Then what happened to the credit?
Maintenance expense decrease $10.
Credit.
Yeah.
If this makes sense, good for you. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm teaching you slightly in advance. That's always the goal, man. And usually it's conceptually slightly advanced. Again, I guarantee you will see this pop up, and hopefully you are less confused and less confused. Hopefully. Let me state one thing. After a while, you'll find that certain things you understand, certain things you just follow. Like the capital one, you follow one. A bit confusing, to be fair. Okay? You must understand, they don't care whether you understand or not. They will give you the reverse scenario. So if you follow, that means you don't understand, right? Remember that you gotta follow in the reverse way for a reverse scenario. If you understand, it's easier to reverse. That's my message. Of course if you try to understand, reverse scenario will be simple for you. If you follow, then reverse scenario will be more difficult. But in the end, it is just a reverse thing in the end. Okay. Now, would you like to go a little bit more, maybe discuss the next chapter, or what? What are you going to do? Is there 4 minutes?
I don't really have anything to ask though.
I know, but that's because you haven't looked at the future chapter.
But like this chapter not tested in exam.
So what chapter is tested in exams?
Yeah. Chapter 1, 2, 3.
And Are you sure you have no question at all on chapter 1 to 3?
Yeah, I don't have.
Okay. Again, could you show me the table of contents? Sorry, what is chapter 1 to 3? Because I don't have your book. Okay, okay, I understand. Yeah, chapter 1, chapter 2, sure. And then chapter 3. They already talk about financial statements. Seriously.
Mm.
Can you show me chapter 3 for what? I'm very surprised right now. Tell me what you study or something in chapter 3. You go to chapter 3 and then you go tell me what is chapter 3 to you?
It's like we learned already the accounting equation, the assets.
It's a liability, equity, income, expense lah. Totally agree. But what do you understand of that? Oh, that's right. Huh. There's so many jargon. I mean, put it this way lah. Put it this way. Asset liability, equity, income, expense doesn't seem to happen at all in this chapter 4, right? The one that you're asking me is chapter 4, correct? The double accounting thingy lah.
Double
Correct.
entry.
Double entry accounting, right? Correct, right? This chapter 4, correct?
Yeah.
Hey, how come, am I correct or not to say asset, liability, equity, income, expense doesn't happen in chapter 4?
No, cause like we learn like the utilities is like expense or like
Correct.
the $3,400 check is like cash at bank.
Which is asset, liability, equity, income, expense. Which one?
Asset.
Okay. Can I test you a bit? Because chapter 3, ma. But again,
Mm.
the March 8 one. March 8 one, never mind, March 18. Let's go back to March 18. So inventory increased 4,300. Cash at bank decreased 4,300. So far, so good, right?
Mm.
What is that? Asset, liability, income, expense. What do you think?
Asset.
Which one is asset? The
The inventory.
is asset. So you're saying that because you buy inventory, asset increased by 4,300. That's what I'm saying, right?
Mm.
Okay, then the cash at bank decreased 4,300. What is that?
Asset.
And that asset also increased?
Decrease.
So you're saying that asset increased by 4,300, but asset also decreased by 4,300. What do you think? Is that what you're saying? Can you hear me? Sorry. Maybe we're stuck here. Okay, you're thinking. Yeah. Okay. Tell me. That's what you're saying.
I mean, my teacher hasn't like really talked about it like that.
I'll tell you the good news. You are correct. The issue is you don't understand. You are correct.
Is it
When
because like equals?
of course, so put it this way. If you basically you are changing your money into goods, right? You into inventory, correct? You are doing that. You are correct. If you do that, your asset neither increase nor decrease. Because cash is your asset, inventory also your asset. If you understand what asset means, if you understand what asset. So I'm just changing from one type of asset to another type of asset. I'm changing cash into inventory, which for some reason, that's what you want to do in the business. You are right. The asset did not change at all value-wise. The item changes, the asset did not. If this is confusing, you tell me, because therefore it's interesting that you are correct and yet you're confused.
I think I kind of understand.
And good for you, because that will be the start of the how to use asset and liability later on. That's why I'm very confused. Hey, how come chapter 3 is about asset? Because you're not supposed to talk about it very early. But if you already start to understand, then good for you. Really good for you.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So looks like chapter 3 will be your exam. I'm very confused what your
1,
exam
2, 3.
will be. 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. I'm still very confused what your exam will be, but maybe it's something like what I asked you. I don't know, right? Okay, which you seem to be able to answer, right? Okay. Okay. So my first time teaching you POA. I teach POA for the Sec 4, so I kind of have to rush things I have to, put them up to speed. You're very different. You're starting from Sec 3, so go slow, that kind of thing. What do you think about today's session so far?
Understandable.
Right. If you want to discuss POA again next time, go ahead. I will make it shorter lah. I don't have to jump too far with you, right? Okay, you're definitely keeping up with the class. Okay, so anytime you want. Okay, so now it's 1 hour. Should we end for today?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Rana. Enjoy your day, and I will see you next week.